Hi guys, welcome back to AP Environmental. Today we're going to be going over sustainable forestry, which is our topic 5.2, which is super short. Here are the objectives and all the stuff. You can read it on your own. All right, let's go ahead and get into ecologically sustainable forestry. Now, first, let's take a step back and just review what sustainability is. Sustainability is trying to do practices that is not going to deplete or diminish the original source of really anything. It's trying to make sure that what you have lasts for as long as possible, if not forever. Okay. So, sustainable forestry is going to include multiple different methods to hopefully not deplete all of the trees on our planet. So, forestry is using trees for lumber that minimizes damage to the ecosystem. Habitat loss is the number one driver of species extinction. So, we want to make sure that we are not destroying and damaging habitats and ecosystems. Forestry also does lead to soil erosion and increased CO2 in the atmosphere because we have lower rates of photosynthesis occurring. So, selective cutting and strip cutting tends to be a more sustainable practice. Remember, I said in class that selective cutting is kind of like individually plucking out eyebrow hairs, the ones that you don't want, or no, I guess the ones that you do want to cut in the case of forestry. But selective cutting is purposefully cutting down the best trees and only those trees, whereas strip cutting is clearing and cutting down trees in a specific area, but not cutting down all of them. So only cutting some of the trees in an area, the biggest and the oldest, to preserve habitat biodiversity, as well as topsoil. Remember that trees do have roots, and those roots are underground, and they do help maintain the topsoil, which is the top layer of soil, and make sure that soil isn't too, more likely to experience higher rates of erosion. So here are some examples of selective cutting. And clear cutting here and selective cutting, we're specifically cutting down the trees, and strip cutting, we're cutting down a whole strip. And this is comparison to a non-sustainable method of forestry, which is clear cutting, which is cutting down everything. So this is not sustainable, but these two ways are. So we also can use human and animal labor to minimize soil compaction from machinery. Remember that machinery does compact topsoil. And this is an example of using horses, mules, donkeys, any sort of heavy duty pack animal rather than heavy machinery. Machinery also does use fossil fuels, which leads to increased rates of CO2 in the atmosphere, which leads to global warming. Replanting the same species being logged, that is important. And, we want to maximize long-term productivity of land and preserve forests for future generations. Remember, productivity is the rate of photosynthesis. And again, photosynthesis removes CO2 from the atmosphere. Here are some more sustainable forestry practices: using recycled wood or simply reusing without recycling. Here we have some different pieces of patio furniture that were made using recycled wood. Wood can be chipped and used as mulch for gardens or agricultural fields. Reforestation, replanting of trees in areas that have been deforested. So, reforestation is the opposite of deforestation. And we can see that here. In 2001, we have this patch of land that's very barren, does not have, that many trees. And then here we are 18 years later, and we have a lush, diverse habitat filled with trees. Selectively removing diseased trees to prevent spread of infection through an entire forest. That is very important. Trees can get diseases just like we do. And this removes the host for the disease and decreases the density, also making the disease spread less. And here are some examples of tree diseases. You guys might have seen, maybe you have not, but I definitely have growing up walking in the forest near my house. There is absolutely a ton of trees that are diseased like this that should be cut down. Fire suppression is another huge thing in sustainable forestry practices. Stopping natural forest fires is huge. I'm not sure if you guys have seen this in the news, maybe not so much now, but definitely in the late summer, early summer, the peak forest fire season is occurring, and we want to make sure that we are stopping that as much as possible. Fire suppression is the practice of putting out all natural forest fires as soon as they start. If we don't, we're going to, of course, be decreasing biodiversity because these habitats are being destroyed. When we put out these fires immediately, we get more dry biomass build up, which makes future fires worse. Stuff like this, we get this like dry, very flammable material that is not good for suppressing fires. And we should be monitoring. Close monitoring can prevent fire damage and worse fires in the future. The last thing we're going to talk about is prescribed burns, which is deliberately choosing to burn down an area. Okay, so when we do have this dead biomass build up, it does have this kind of source for fuel for forest fires. There are stored nutrients trapped in the dead biomass. Dead trees are susceptible to disease and pest spread. So when we do small controlled fires, we're able to burn a lot of that dead biomass. So we are then burning the dead biomass that can be fuel, and that in turn, a positive is it prevents larger forest fires later. And because of this, we will be promoting nutrient recycling. And here are some pictures of these prescribed burns. So see how he is deliberately burning down these areas here. And again, promotes nutrient cycling. Nutrients and dead biomass are recycled, leading to new growth. Okay, that is all I have for you guys today. I will see you all in our next video. I think we're going to cover these in class, so we'll talk about these in class, but I'll see you guys in our next video. Bye, have a wonderful day. Email me if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Bye.